Foley from the Children's Museum of New Hampshire, and today I'm going to share a science magic experiment with you, and this one is called Surprise Rainbow. So this one requires a little bit of prep. You're going to need some water-based markers and some permanent markers. So to create this surprise rainbow, you want to take a paper towel, any paper towel should work, and draw a rainbow with the water-based markers. And then you're going to take a permanent marker and draw a line over each of those lines. So when you're done, you end up with a rainbow that looks a little bit like this. And I'm going to use a pipette for this experiment. If you have one of these at home, these are really great for kids. Love using them, and it slows them down with their science projects. So if you have one, you can use one, and if you don't, you can try doing this with a spray bottle with water in it. Any spray bottle should work. Or another way to do it is you could pour water on your plate or tray, whatever you're using to keep your table dry, and then you can lay your project on top. So before you go ahead and put some water on your rainbow, you can ask your kids to make a little prediction about what they think is going to happen. What's going to happen when I add some water to this rainbow? So think about that, make a prediction, make a guess. And then we're going to add some water. And if you can get them, if you're using a pipette or something like that, if you can do one line of the rainbow at a time, that looks pretty neat. And they get to see the effect a little bit more. And you don't want to put on too much water. It's also helpful for this experiment to do it on something where you can see the rainbow pretty well. So I'm using a white plate so it's easy to see. I tried it on the tray, and the tray had too much going on in the background. It was a little harder to see it. So we're going to let that sit for a moment. But what you should end up with at the end is something like this. So as you can see, the permanent marker, the black marker, didn't change. So if your prediction was that that black marker wasn't going to change, you were right. And our washable markers, our water-based markers did. So you can see that the colors spread out and created a rainbow that we could see a little bit better because those colors were hiding behind the black marker before. So the reason this works is, for one thing, we used a paper towel. I tried this on some other types of paper and it didn't work very well. You need something that's absorbent. So that means that it kind of sucks the water up. And it allows the water to spread out. And the other reason that it works is that these are water-based markers. That means they're water soluble. That means that they can be washed or scrubbed with water, and they can mix with water and kind of spread out along the paper. Our permanent marker doesn't do that with water. You probably could get this to work with something else to get the permanent marker to change. If you wanted to use something like rubbing alcohol, then that is something that can get rid of permanent marker, or that is soluble with a permanent marker. So I did this a couple times, just kind of tried it out, and then I decided to also do some mystery color shapes. So for this one, I went ahead and put different shapes in different colors. And then I covered them with a permanent marker. So we're going to see if we can have any surprise shapes come out. Let's see if it works. Ooh, I'm starting to see a little bit. And this, if you're doing this with younger kids, can be a good way to do some color and shape recognition. So you can say, oh, what color's coming out of the star? What color's coming out of the square? And let's see. I see them coming out a little bit. Oh, the blue's really coming out. So behind our circle, it was blue. Behind the moon, it was yellow. Behind the star, it was green. Behind the sun, it was pink. Behind the triangle, it was red. Behind the square, it was purple. And it was orange behind the flower. So if we let this sit for a little while, we might see those colors come out a little more too. Another fun thing you can do using this same set of materials is you can do some color mixing with your paper towels. So on this plate, I have two friends, a spider and a crab. The spider is red and the crab is blue. And on the other one, I have some pumpkin friends, and one is red and one is yellow. So before we add any water, maybe we can make a prediction about what color we might be able to make if our pumpkins get really close together and they mix together. So you can make a prediction about this red and yellow one. I'm going to try this one with a spray bottle. Let's see if that works well for this. Okay, so we see the shape of our pumpkins is changing when they get wet because the water is spreading out just like it did with our rainbow experiment. We'll just kind of let those sit for a second, and I'm going to add some water to our little crab and spider friends. I've noticed that some markers, some colors of the markers actually seem to spread out and blend a little bit more. So if you wanted to really make this into an experiment, you could try this with different brands of markers, and you could try it with maybe some other writing utensils. Like you could use a highlighter and a pen and a pencil, and then use markers and permanent markers and make some predictions about which ones are going to work the best. So our crab and spider should mix together a little bit to create some purple. They might need a little bit more water. This one might work better if you actually lay the paper into a tray of water instead. And our yellow and red pumpkin should mix together to make orange, which we see a little bit in the middle. I think this red really spreads a lot more than the other colors. So I have one more to try with bees. So we can try our blue and yellow bees and see if we can make a guess, make a prediction, a different color bee. This goes, if you do the option of putting the water on the plate first and laying it down, it goes a lot quicker. So if this is something you're trying to prep ahead, you might want to make a lot of different ones for kids to try. But I like the pipette because it does slow the process down a little bit, and you can kind of see the colors changing a little bit. Looks like we're getting a little bit of green out of this one. Our spider and crab friends really didn't want to mix. Maybe they don't know they're kind of related. We got a little bit of orange out of this one, and our shapes up here are spreading a little bit more color now too. So you can see the orange coming out of the flower and the green coming out of the star. And you can see our surprise rainbow is spreading some more color as well. So this is something that can be a quick activity or an introduction to another activity, or if you, like I said, if you have some time to prep ahead. Kids usually really enjoy playing with water. So you can prep ahead and make a bunch of these for your kids to explore. And then when they're done, even though it's a paper towel, it still makes a pretty art project that you can hang up and share. Thank you for joining us. I hope you'll join us again for another magic science experiment.